Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pop Go the Raiders. Tonight, we are going to talk about, we didn't get a chance to talk about the Super Bowl trailers because we took the Super Bowl night off.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to talk about the news, some of the latest news,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we'll talk a little bit about the post-credit scenes on Ant-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Because I haven't seen them, but I know what they are, and I know Jim has seen Ant-Man. I'm going to try to go see Ant-Man tomorrow.
Okay.
So
I
fingers
can I
crossed.
can give non-spoilery comments about it
Well,
if
we'll
you
put
want.
no. I've already seen the spoiler reviews and the breakdowns and stuff.
Okay.
So I could talk fully about the movie. I just haven't
Okay.
seen it, which is weird. But
Great. Okay. Good.
but we'll save
Good.
that to the
I'm
end.
I'm not like bouncing off the walls to talk about it, but I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll save the full movie to talk about until I get a chance to see it. I
Okay.
am going to do everything I can to see it this week. I'm going to
Okay.
try to go see it tomorrow.
Okay.
But I do want to talk about the two ending credit scenes
Yeah.
because of what they mean.
Yeah.
But we're going to save that until the last part of the show. So if you absolutely don't want to hear that, stick around and I'll put up spoiler warnings and everything else until then.
Yeah. And you definitely need some spoiler warnings for those.
Yeah. So, but we're going to jump into things. It was interesting. I saw I've been flipping through TikTok a lot more lately, and they love to put up clips from movies and stuff, which I don't know how they get away with, you know, but
Is it that it has to be under a certain amount of time?
it might be, and they do it, and then, and then they'll put like something else in the clip too. So you'll have like on the top half, you'll have the movie, and then the bottom half, you'll have somebody like building a mailbox.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah,
Let
but
me ask you something about TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I know people who are, not a lot of people, but I know people who are. How serious are they about cracking down on things? Some platforms are and some are not.
well, I don't see a lot of nudity on there or anything like that, but it's really close.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't really seem to crack down on like musical use and stuff like that. So
Okay. Okay.
I don't see a lot of cracking down, but I don't know. I'm
Okay. So
actually
it's not
working.
Facebook
Yeah,
where if you look cross-eyed at something, then you get a warning or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I think as long as you're not putting up a picture of Winnie the Pooh, you'll be fine.
Okay.
Some people will get that.
The guy that made the that Winnie the Pooh horror movie, I saw a thing that said he wants to do the same thing for Teletubbies, and here's me going, pardon me, Teletubbies are not in the public domain, so I think you might have to get permission to do that one.
Yeah. By the way, the Winnie the Pooh horror movie came out this weekend, and it didn't do well.
It did not.
No,
I
no.
thought it was already out. Here's me thinking like this thing was already out.
No, it debuted this weekend, and no, not very good at
Was it limited release or full release?
all. I don't know. I don't normally ask about
Oh,
full release, but
damn it, Dan! You're supposed to have done your research, your prep work on this episode.
yeah. Give me just a second. I will find out for you.
It's my fault. I brought it. No, you actually said Winnie the Pooh first. I brought up the movie though. It's
Yeah.
both of our faults.
Now I know that Ant-Man and the Wasp actually did remarkably well at the box office this weekend.
Unless you listen to the people who say, "Well, nothing else came out, so of course it did well."
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, um, made a total of over the 4-day weekend, it made 750,000.
but it doesn't say how much of how released it was. I know that's
Let's see. Normally they do tell you the theaters, but I'm not seeing it on this. Yeah, what's funny is that all the other ones tell you theaters. Like the movie Emily is in 5 theaters.
Oh, jeez.
Ant-Man and the Wasp was in 4,345 theaters. Knock at the Cabin was 2,600 theaters. So it came, and they even tell you up and down. So Knock at the Cabin lost 1,056 theaters that went to Ant-Man. Magic Mike went up by 1,500 theaters. So
yay, Magic Mike! Woohoo!
Yep. Yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp was projected by Disney to do about 85 million over the weekend.
And it was
now, I don't know if that's the 3-day or the 4-day.
Okay.
But what they ended up doing, 3-day is coming in at 104 million, and the 4-day is at 118 million.
Okay.
Which is so much better
than
the previous one, which only came in at 75 million.
Yeah. Potentially tomorrow could be good for it being holiday. Right?
Well, they're saying that they're expecting to bring in about another 14 million tomorrow is what they're expecting. So,
well, good.
Yeah. So now, of course, the critic reviews have been horrible, but from what I've been kind of getting from this is most of the critics went in expecting to be another Ant-Man movie, and it's not. It's a bigger movie,
Yeah, that's exactly right. My favorite random person review on Twitter said something like, "It wasn't very good, but I went into it with too high of expectations," or something like that. It's like, okay, well, you dummy, that's why you don't think. Like, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Just go into and say, I just want to have an entertaining movie, and just leave it at that. Jeez.
And that's pretty much what I've been getting from everybody is it's an entertaining movie.
Yes, that's my review. It's an entertaining movie. I call it like slightly above a mid-grade Marvel movie. It's slightly, up a little bit to that.
Yeah.
What was the other thing I said? Oh, it's like a summer popcorn movie in the middle of February.
Hey, I'm okay with that.
Do you happen to know what was the original release month for it? Because it was
going to be a summer movie.
There you go. Okay, that's exactly what it was or is.
Yeah, originally it was July 27th.
See, yeah, my God, it would have been like so perfect, at that point. But it was, you know what? It was nice having a movie like that in the middle of, here, cold February. It was especially cold that day.
Now it's the third best February ever, or February opening ever, behind Black Panther and Deadpool. So, yeah. Originally, Captain Marvel was supposed to be out this weekend, and then it got moved to July. Instead, they flipped them, and now Captain Marvel, of course, is being moved till November 10th, taking the place of Blade, which got bumped because Blade lost its director and had to be moved.
Okay, so wait a minute. Yeah, now it's just starting to really hit. I heard that about the Marvels, but so we do not have a summer Marvel movie? Is that correct? No, we have Guardians.
We have Guardians in the beginning of May. And then nothing after that.
Right around my birthday. I think it's like the day after my birthday, May 5th.
So, but yeah, and then we're going to get I think we're going to get 2, maybe 3 Marvel series this year, but they're trying to slow down a little bit anyway.
I've heard that was one of the things that just came out recently. Yeah, and maybe that's okay.
Yeah, and I don't think it was ever their intent to flood the market like they had. It was mainly kind of dealing with the fact that the pandemic slowed everything down, so they got this backlog of stuff they had to put out.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to start hearing some dates for, like, give us the date for Silent Invasion, because I think it's the first one. I think, or that's the the next one that we're getting.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be probably April, or probably might even be late May before we get it, because what I'm thinking is we got Mandalorian starting up, and I don't think they want to run these overlapping anymore.
Yeah,
I think that's part of the idea. So we're going to get 8 weeks of Mandalorian, then we're going to get Guardians. So Mandalorian should run almost towards Guardians.
Right.
So they'll probably do a week or 2 after Guardians before they start the next thing. Right. So that's when I would expect Secret Invasion.
Right. Okay. That does make sense when you factor in Mandalorian. That does make sense.
Yeah. So Another interesting bit of news is they're going to once again try to reboot the Hellboy franchise.
I saw that today. A friend of mine was so excited because it was a Hellboy storyline that they're going to be adapting. That was like
Well,
his favorite Hellboy storyline or something
well,
like
it's
that.
more than just a Hellboy storyline. It's the script is being written by Mike Mignola and Christopher Golden,
Okay,
who write the Hellboy comics now. I mean,
right,
Mignola started it, but he often writes with Christopher Golden, and they're
right.
going to do the Crooked Man
Crooked,
story,
yeah, right.
which is basically
The Crooked One, I
no, it's
think
a
it's
Crooked
called.
Man.
Is it? I was thinking it was Crooked One. Okay.
No, the Crooked Man, and basically it's about the Crooked Man is a story of this kind of miserly character who dies, who's actually hung for crimes because he's kind of a cheat and stuff, and is brought back from hell by the devil to be a resident devil area, So, and the story takes place in the Hellboy story takes place in the 50s, and there's this along with a new agent in the BRPD as they're investigating this coven of witches who are somehow tied to the Crooked Man, and we find out that the Crooked Man that Hellboy has a past with the Crooked Man.
Okay. So this has nothing at all whatsoever to do with the last Hellboy movie.
Nope,
So we're going to
they're
get third incarnation of this character. It's not
yeah.
going to be the same actor or anything like that at all. Wow.
No,
Okay.
no, they haven't. Well, they haven't said who's going to act, and they are saying it's a reboot. But their plan is to do it as faithful to the comics as possible. So instead of having Mignola just as a consultant on the film, they're actually letting him write the scripts.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's very
Yeah.
cool. I don't
So
really remember what he has said about the last two
I
incarnations.
know he was a fan of the David Harbour one because I
Mhm.
think it was he felt it was closer to what he wanted, where he thought the um, Ron Perlman one were good, but strayed a bit from the character.
Okay. Okay.
So he felt the David Harbour one was closer,
Mhm.
but and a little more horror, where the Perlman ones were a little more family friendly.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Mhm.
didn't say a lot, just a little bit.
Yeah,
But, but
more so than the David Harbour one.
yeah, so I'm excited about that, and they've got the director who did the movie Crank,
Okay.
which which for what it is a fun movie.
Mhm.
Jason Statham just running around up on speed to keep his heart going because he's going to die and he's trying to get revenge. It's a pretty interesting, fast paced movie. So film wise, I think this could be a very kinetic, very interesting filmed movie. I don't know much else what Brian Taylor, I think his name is Brian Taylor, has done, but I look forward to this. But then I love Hellboy.
What are they aiming for? What year?
They don't say.
Okay.
It wasn't part of the release, but they're also doing it to hang on to the rights.
Ah,
So
sure.
it was either make another movie or the rights would lapse. So they
Yeah.
want to hang on to the movie
Yeah.
or the rights. So they're
Word,
putting this up.
word to the wise, 2025 seems to be already packed right now. They may want to try to have it out next year, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like a 7 year thing on most movies.
Hmm.
So they would need to have it out by 2026 at the latest because the last one came out in 2019, I believe.
Hmm.
If it still works the way I think it works, that you need to put a movie out every 7 years
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to keep a license on things.
Mm-hmm.
So, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And but then I kind of like the David Harbour one. I saw a lot of potential to it, and I don't really understand exactly what people didn't like about it. Maybe it was just that it wasn't the Ron Perlman one.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What they didn't like was that it wasn't Ron Perlman. I mean, we're going through this over and over and over again in popular culture.
Yeah,
People will not like the new Superman just because it's not Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, it's already trash and crap right now,
Oh yeah.
in a lot of people's minds. And the same
Well,
with
it's like, yeah.
if they replace Gal Gadot, it's like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Nobody likes Lee Merriweather as Catwoman because she's not Julie Newmar.
Right. And what the hell's with Eartha Kitt? Jesus.
Well, strangely enough, there's a lot of people who really like Eartha Kitt, the Eartha Kitt Catwoman, even though she followed up two others almost immediately. But
Yeah.
I'm a Lee Merriweather fan. As much as I love Julie, it's like, because I've always said, you don't like Lee Merriweather simply because she's not Julie.
Oh yeah.
But then again, who is Julie Newmar?
Oh yeah. It's like they were never going to accept John Aston.
Yeah, right.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
they were trying to replace
right.
Peter Romero,
Exactly right. Although strangely enough, Raul Julia was accepted after John Aston as Gomez Adams.
Right. Right. True. So,
But nobody wants these new monsters.
oh, jeez. Yeah. That's just bad.
Oh boy.
So speaking of the Superman replacements, I found it interesting that I feel bad for James Gunn. I really do. Because
I kind of hate to say it, maybe, but I kind of feel bad for him too. I don't think he's a bad guy, and
well, that's the thing, is that everybody loves Guardians. Everybody loved the Suicide Squad movie he did.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody really has been on his side about all the stuff that he's done movie-wise. Yeah, he got into a little trouble for tweets he made 10 years prior that he deleted and apologized for at the time, and still got called out for 10 years later.
Yeah.
But other than that, the guy has been, for lack of a better term, a mensch. Somebody works with him, then he keeps working with them. He keeps getting him more work. He works his ass off. He's on social media. He's talking to people. He's answering questions. He's putting in Easter eggs. And then when people are guessing the Easter eggs, he's actually answering them if they get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing that now. And people are attacking him. And it's like, or they're picking apart everything because hello, Cody. Hey, Andrew. Because they are dedicated to Zack Snyder.
I see that James is in yet another little boiling pot of water today. I made the mistake of spending a couple minutes reading this big long thing.
Was this the age thing
on Twitter? On what?
Was this the age thing or something else?
It was about that he made the mistake of saying that he had been hired 6 months ago to write the Superman legacy script. And so everybody had to get out calculators and do the math. And then this whole big thing came out. This whole big thing erupted about how that must mean that there were two Superman movies in the works at the same time, and that Gunn and the WB are even more culpable now in screwing Henry Cavill, making him look like an idiot on purpose when they James Gunn knew full well that Cavill was going to be fired, and he didn't say anything, and WB knew it too, and they just let Cavill go on and on and on and on about coming back, just for the sole purpose of making him look like an idiot, and to use his cameo in Black Adam just to sell that movie because they knew it was bad. I mean, I was like, guys, I love all this stuff as much as you do, maybe, but move along, move on. What are you doing spending this much time attacking this guy and these other guys? It's like they're so earnest and so deadly serious in figuring out this. They probably have one of those things where it's like the board at home with the thumbtacks and the cord that goes back and forth like a web to figure these things. What did James Gunn know and when did he know it? I mean, that's what it is. It's like, James Gunn can do no right in these people's eyes. You know what? Here, we'll go back to what we were just saying, because he's not Zack Snyder.
Yep. Well, it's
So
like
what?
yeah, it's like they're freaking out because of the age thing, and they're like, well, he said,
you know what? I didn't read that. What did he say? What was said about the age thing?
He said he wanted to go with a younger Superman.
Yeah.
And now everybody's like, oh, he's going to be 20. He's going to be a kid. It's going to be like Smallville. He's like, that's not what I said. And then they're saying, well, because Batman's going to have Damian Wayne, he's going to be in his 40s. So why not just keep
he
Ben
doesn't.
Affleck? And Gunn had to come out today and go, look, A, no one's been cast.
Mm-hmm.
B, I said that Superman's is going to be younger. He's not going to be 40.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what Henry Cavill's going to be by the time they start filming the movie.
Yeah.
And Batman's going to be maybe a little older. He says maybe, in capital letters, maybe a little older. But I think part of the problem is, and it's a culture shift, is that people nowadays assume that if you have a kid, you're in your 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what most people are doing nowadays is you're in your 30s. So if you have a 10-year-old kid, you've got to be in your 40s. Well, that's not the case. You know, Batman could have started adventuring in his early 20s at 20, I'd say 24, 23.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and immediately, and then the thing with the Ra's al Ghul happens early up. And next thing you know, he's got a kid. So at 33, he's got Damian Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Kyle.
Oh, look, it's Kyle.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's, yeah,
wait, Kyle, that's okay. Dan and I are writers. We can write you some. Dan, let me ask you this. You like that James Gunn is accessible and comments and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Imagine this. You have James in front of you. You're right there. You're able to say things to him. Do you say to him, James, just stop interacting with people, or stop saying so much stuff because you don't have to, or what? What do you say to him about this whole thing?
I will say to him exactly what I was saying about Warner Brothers before they announced Gunn, which is they need to get specific. They need to come out and say, this is what we're doing, boom, 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 boom. And the problem is they came out and did most of that with that announcement, but there's this wishy-washy part of it. And I think it's because they still have 4 movies that have to come out this year, and they don't want to hurt those movies by coming out and saying, well, if these 4 movies aren't going to matter, or something to that effect. Mm-hmm. So they don't want to come out and say, well, Zachary Levi is not going to be Shazam going forward, or Jason Momoa is going to be Lobo and not Aquaman. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that's what they're going to do, but they don't want to make big announcements like that because they want those 4 movies to do well, because the studio needs money to make these other movies.
Right.
So they need Aquaman to do well. Mm-hmm. They need Flash to do well. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get to the Flash trailer, but I'm pretty sure a good percentage of the people who are like, just cancel the Flash. Ezra Miller has all this bad stuff. He's toxic. Just cancel it. Saw the trailer, went, I want to see that.
I'm going to hold on to my thought, but I know why they want to see why they want to see that movie, and you do too. But we'll get to it
because I'm Batman.
So we've been spoiled by open creators, open studios saying, we now feel entitled. We need to know every damn thing. Even the behind the scenes stuff, we are entitled. We have to know. It's like, no, they're businesses. Every business has private business dealings.
I think that's fair for most, but I think if you're building a cohesive universe like the MCU or this new DCU, that you need a bit of the Stan Lee. you need to make people feel like
Sure.
you're connected. They're part of it to get them to commit for watching all these different things.
I agree. I mean, I'm a little torn by it because I like to see James Gunn talk and interact, and it's fun. It almost makes me want to figure out something to say on Twitter so that I can have James Gunn comment on it, but at the end of the day, I also feel like we're not entitled to know the private business dealings of Warner Brothers. And you know what? But I like also to be surprised. Every so often James Gunn will come out and say, here's where we're at, and we came up with this. And it's like, fine. Other than that, like, I don't think I need to be in on their casting meetings.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like the other day, IGN posted the 10 characters we most want to see in the new DCU. James Gunn saw it and replied, would 5 of those 10 be okay?
And you know what? That's fun. Although it's going to get him into trouble somewhere, somehow, but that's fun. But the people who get him into trouble, kind of ruin that fun. I love that. That's fun. Yeah. I'll have to go and look at that list and because that's great. That's really fun.
And Bleeding Cool did a similar one. I think it was 8 characters, and Rich Johnson posted it. And Gunn responded to that. He's like, yeah, well, 4 of those 8.
Damn, I'm going to have to come up with a list. Ma Uncle, the Golden Age Red Tornado. James, come on.
Kyle says, Jim, I've been saying that about those investor meetings. He says, we don't need to know. Now, see, again, I don't agree. I think because you're trying to do a big cohesive universe, you need a bit of that Stan Lee. You need a bit of that, the insider. You want to feel part of it. And I think in a lot of ways, that's what got people attached to Zack Snyder, is he also did those kind of things.
Yeah. Okay. So, here's a question for you. Does Kevin Feige need to be more interact? I mean, he seems to comment. They're able to go to him and ask him questions and things like that lots of times. But does he need to be more, online and interact?
No, I think he's fine. I think Gunn could tone it back a little bit, but I think the problem is that Gunn is trying to start something before the old one finished, and Kevin didn't have that problem.
Yeah, absolutely that.
Kevin was walking in with everybody going, wow, those X-Men movies have gotten bad. Oh my God, what Spider-Man was that?
Yeah.
Did Daredevil just leave someone to die so he could go have sex with Elektra? those are the things. And Kevin comes in and goes, don't worry, I'll save you. And he did.
And he did.
Yeah.
I think we're coming up on a new era of DC versus Marvel, because I think Marvel's probably sitting there going, oh well, DC seems to have a really fairly good plan in place, so maybe we need to make sure that everybody remembers that we're over here and then see where this goes from here.
Andrew says the difference: Marvel announces at conventions, WBDC announces at investor meetings. That shows everything that's wrong with them. That's not true. Marvel also announces at the investor meetings, and we're going to see that in April at the Disney investor meeting. I have a feeling that's when we're going to start getting stuff like possibly more information on the Fantastic Four. Because Feige has recently, Kevin Feige said recently that people are going to start getting more information on the Fantastic Four soon. And the next big things are the investor meeting in April, Comic-Con, and then Disney Day or whatever, D23.
D23, yeah.
Yeah. And I think D23 is going to be too late. So I think for it to be considered soon. So I think Disney, the Disney investor meeting in April is going to be likely it. Plus, I think they need some big news
to
cover up some of the negative news.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Was going to say that. Yep.
But yeah, people just leave James Gunn alone. And also, there's this thing that people do, and I am watching all the negativity right now towards Ant-Man. Though all the people I know who are going to the movie are walking out, and either two things are happening: is they're coming out going, "Oh, that was fun. Oh, that's important. You're going to want to see that because it's fun and because of the ending," or they're coming out going, "Marvel's lost their magic. Marvel's dead," and it's like, what?
Yeah.
What?
I have yet to see a valid criticism for Ant-Man, but yesterday on Twitter, lots of criticism, and then I read a couple of threads today when Marvel on Facebook, when Marvel said, "Oh, number one," and there was just long strings of "I loved it, I loved it, I loved it," and it was like, "Oh, that makes me feel good." There are a bunch of people who really love that movie. It's a handful of people on the internet, whatever.
Yeah. See, I look at it this way. My nephew made dinner tonight. He makes dinner on Sunday nights.
Mm-hmm.
He always tries a new recipe.
Yeah.
Tonight he did something called mini breakfast toad in the hole.
Oh.
Now, I've made toad in the hole before. I know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, it had a knock against him. But he made this recipe based off of a chef that I follow a lot too, a guy named Chef John, and Food Wishes. I think Chef John is great. I make a lot of his stuff. So he made dinner, and I sat down and I ate it. And I told him, I said flat out, I said, I think it was well cooked. I think the flavor profile really works. It had a lot of good stuff going on. I said, I would not eat this again because I do not like the texture. I said, this is nothing against you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like the texture. So I'm not going to say this is a horrible dinner.
Yeah.
Because it just didn't work for me. Mind you, I wouldn't call it toad in the hole. I would call it a quiche. It was much more egg and it had a quiche texture.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that was a quiche, not, not toad in the hole. But I said it that way because I think my nephew did a great job. Everybody else liked it. So I wasn't going to come out and just be negative because it wasn't for me, because some things aren't for me.
I work for a restaurant, and I actually work with their social media. So I see this all the time. People do not know how to review. It's the same thing with my books and all of that. People don't know how to review. It's this restaurant or this book is horrible because I personally don't like that kind of food, or I don't like science fiction stories. So, 1 star, it's horrible. Like, no, that's not how you review things. Yes, Dan, you had it right. You then add in, and it's just because I personally don't care for this sort of thing. But I could tell it was made well and all that stuff that you said.
Yeah. I heard a quote years ago, and I don't remember who gave the quote, but to me, it perfectly sums up critics right now, which is that some people use negativity as proxy for insight.
Yeah.
And I thought that's perfect.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to move on. We're going to come back to Ant-Man a little bit later and talk about the
trailers.
We're going to talk about the trailers now, but we're going to talk about the post-credit scenes in a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's talk about.
Hooray!
There were a couple different trailers. Some of them I don't know if we care about. There was a thing for Super Mario. I don't care about Super Mario. There was a D&D trailer, but I don't think it really showed us anything different than. Now, there's a clip that came out, which I thought was brilliant because it's such, and Kyle's going to love the clip if he ever sees it, because it's so inside game. Because Kyle and I just had this huge conversation about Critical Role and how it was too much not like actually playing. The scene is Chris Pine. They're trying to talk to a dead guy. So the wizard brings him back and you can ask him 5 questions, which is a spell, and they make fun of the spell because it's like, okay, did you die because of this? Yeah. Okay. Is he gonna? And he goes to turn to somebody else and asks a question of them, and the dead body answers, and he's like, "Wait, does that count as one of the spells?" Or yes.
Yeah.
Damn it! So he wastes like three of the.
Right.
You know, and
See,
I'm like,
that's been my whole thing about that movie. Every time I see something about it, I don't know what to think about it. Like, and I'm an old school D&D player from way back, so I know what D&D is, but I haven't been getting D&D ness from the trailer. So maybe that's like that trailer or that scene I need to watch that, because otherwise I keep going like I don't know what this movie is. It's like it could be any fantasy thing. Oh, I mean, okay, you know what? There's a couple of creature monsters in it. Isn't there like a bugbear in it?
there's
Or
a
an
bug
owl bear or whatever the
owlbear.
hell,
Right.
it's like,
Well,
okay.
see, that's the thing. Is like the druid turns into an owlbear, and all I heard was druids can't turn into owlbears. They're limited. Yeah, but there's a gelatinous cube, and that's awesome.
Okay, well then, see, that's good. Is there a Beyonder or a Beholder?
There might be. I haven't. I don't know if I've. There
Well,
was a few things in there.
there's the cat with the tentacles that
Yes,
come out.
and that's.
It's terrible. I can't think of what the hell those are called. Somebody
But
over
they are
here,
from the group. Yeah,
somebody over here will tell me what that is.
Kyle
Okay,
probably knows.
okay, but you know what? Then that gives a little bit more D&D ness to it. All right, I'll look and try to find that scene. Then I'm sure
Yeah,
it's
it just came out the last day or two, but it's
okay.
a good.
Okay.
It's like okay, so it's gonna be an action and humor, which is I'm good with that. That's exactly the kind of movie I want nowadays.
I wasn't really expecting that much humor, but it is, it looks like it's like they're sort of making fun of D&D in a way.
No, see, I don't. It doesn't feel like it's making fun of it to me, just by watching it. To me, it's just the humor that you would get. It felt like we were playing a game
Okay,
to me
all right, I
because
got you.
I've been in games like that where
Okay.
you ask the question, he's like, "That's two." I'm like, "Damn it!"
Now, but will that all appeal to the millions and millions and millions of people that they need to go see the movie who don't play D&D? It's like does it get too inside baseball?
I don't think it will because the humor will work.
Okay, it'll
They
work
don't
on
get
them
so
regardless.
yeah.
Okay,
I think it'll work on both levels.
yeah.
And I think that it's got the right combination. I
Mhm.
think the previous ones got a little too serious, they took themselves a little too seriously,
Yeah,
and I think in doing so,
yeah,
it was made for the true D&D fans.
yeah.
But I think there's a lot of people out there now who accept D&D and are curious about D&D but have never played.
Okay,
And this could be an access point. They
okay.
see it on Stranger Things, they hear about Critical Role, stuff like that. So I think there's a bigger audience for it based on the existence of D&D than necessarily on the people who play D&D.
Okay. I was kind of asking myself, like, Chris Pine, what are you doing getting into yet another franchise? And then I remembered he is actually out of a couple of jobs now.
Yeah. Well, he's coming back to Star Trek.
Really? Are they? I don't know. It
There
doesn't
is
seem like
supposed to be
anything's
another
happening.
Kelvin
Okay.
crew one
All
in
right.
the works.
Okay.
So.
He's out of the Wonder Woman job, though.
Yeah, but he should have been out of the Wonder Woman job after the first movie, and that probably would have helped the second movie if they weren't so eager to jam him back in there and make it awkward. Because tell me, wouldn't have Wonder Woman 1984 been better if that element at least was out of it?
I didn't.
It's not
see
a good
it.
movie.
I didn't see it. I know he's in it, which is weird, but
oh, it is such a creepy element.
One of these days I'll watch it. But I just have to, you know what? As soon as I get over Zack Snyder being kicked out, then I'll watch it. Okay, keep going.
Kyle says Chris Pine also plays in one of those Hollywood Elite D&D games. Good.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah,
That's
we have to get a live play going on the experience. By the way, Kyle, just a message for Kyle. Dynamite has the license to Pathfinder, so there's a possibility if we play Pathfinder, we might have an easier access to getting the approval. Okay. let's go on to the Guardians of the Galaxy video.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have to speed up a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they spent a lot. It looked very action packed. There were some scenes of like Star-Lord turning and firing guns and stuff, which I don't remember it being that action packed before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like suddenly James Gunn is channeling John Woo.
Mm-hmm.
But it also feels like they're really, really, really pushing to make us believe people are going to die.
Yeah, that's my takeaway for it is that, you know, something is hitting the fan for reals here. And yeah. And then so my expectations are somebody or some buddies are going to die. And then if they don't, I'll be mad.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I totally approve of the song that they use in it.
Well, yeah, because they used two. In the first trailer, it's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. No, that was Ant-Man.
No, that was right. No,
yeah,
you're right that it was Ant-Man, but I don't remember what they used in the first trailer, but the Rainbow song they used just in this one.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love that song.
All about breakups and stuff. Andrew says, my bet, Drax and Rocket. I think Drax is a safe bet with Dave Bautista saying he wants out. He doesn't want to perform as Drax anymore. He wants to move on and do rom-coms and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Rocket, I'm kind of iffy on. I think it's because they're pushing so much, and this is Rocket's story, that it makes sense that he's the one. But of the two characters you could keep around the longest are Rocket and Groot, because they're CGI characters that you just have a guy come in and voice. Right. You know, and you think Bradley Cooper is going to give up the Marvel paycheck for for one day of work? And do you think Vin Diesel is going to go, I'm tired of saying I am Groot. I am family now.
You know what? If he does, I could do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you could literally just have me come in and do it. I mean, or just keep sampling, from the previous movies and just use that over and over.
Yeah, they probably have enough versions of I Am Groot. They could just.
I know. It's what. God love it. It's fun and everything, but it's totally a PR thing. They don't really need him to do that.
Yeah,
they don't need to translate I Am Groot into English so he can change the inflection to or whatever. They don't need.
If I was going to come in and take over after James Gunn, I would move on from Star-Lord. I would keep Mantis. I would keep Groot. I'd try to keep Rocket, depending on what they do with them. I think I would keep Nebula, and I would bring in Adam Warlock and Nova.
Yeah, Adam Warlock especially.
And some other cosmic characters, and kind of make it a little higher scale.
Yeah.
So
what I really liked in that trailer was that Adam Warlock looks like he's badass.
He does. He does. I think
it wasn't very much, but what it was pretty cool.
Though I kind of wish they would have gone with the Leif Garrett feathered hair.
You know what? Every time I say something like that, somebody says, well, that's coming. You just have to wait for the next movie. It's the same when I complained about Namor not having all the Namor attitude. Well, the rest of that attitude will come in the next movie. You just have to be patient. So,
I thought he had the Namor attitude in a lot of ways.
The hair and the cape will be in the next movie.
I'm okay without the cape. It's just, yeah. I want to see him running around with Pip the Troll and and Star Fox, and
you just have to wait a movie or two. Yep.
All right. So let's move on.
Coming.
So I'm looking forward to that. I think Gunn getting a chance to do his third movie to wrap it up. Yeah. It's kind of neat that we're getting these directors chances to do their third movies in the trilogy. That hasn't been happening.
Yeah.
So John Watt got his third Spider-Man movie. Now Peyton Reed gets his third Ant-Man.
Got his third Ant-Man movie.
And Gunn's third Guardians movie. So I'm all good with that.
Yeah, love it.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the biggie. The Batman movie.
I was going to say, you mean the I Am Batman movie?
Yeah, well, it's dueling Batmans. You know, you could have the because it's
Except it would be like a version of the Adam West theme, the Batman theme.
the more I watch this, the trailer, the more I think they're actually doing Flashpoint. I don't mean they're just using the idea of Flashpoint. I think they're actually adapting Flashpoint. They've got Supergirl in the Superman part from Flashpoint, where she's raised in captivity. She's kept away from the sun to depower her. All the things they did to Superman. And it wouldn't surprise me, and this might be going out on a limb, it wouldn't surprise me if Michael Keaton isn't playing Bruce Wayne, he's playing Thomas Wayne.
Well, or he is Bruce Wayne, but he's fulfilling the Thomas Wayne role from Flashpoint, maybe.
Well, because
so you're suggesting this is not the Batman that we saw in 2 Batman movies way back then.
I think that we're not connecting those universes. Okay. I think this is a new iteration of Batman, and it's Thomas Wayne.
Wow. People will know. People
well,
will
because what they wanted was Michael Keaton back as Batman, and Michael Keaton's back as Batman.
You know, I think
it's a more interesting story.
I think it's sad that they're pinning, just from that trailer alone, they're pinning so much of the hopes for this movie on Michael Keaton as Batman. And you know what? My podcast partner from my other podcast said, you know what? He's probably not even in like a third of the movie. He's probably in the last third of the movie or something like that. People are going to be really disappointed that, I said, right. He's not in that whole damn movie, but everybody thinks that he is.
But think about what we saw. We see a lot more of Ben Affleck in there than I thought we were going to.
Yes, that's true, right?
Because I thought he was just going to be in as Bruce Wayne, but we get him in action, in costume, riding the Bat motorcycle, or the Bat pod, or whatever they call it in this one. So we get a lot more of him, and in a blue and gray costume.
Saw that, yep.
But not only do we get an older Batman, which would make a lot of sense if that was Thomas Wayne. But we get the Supergirl and the Superman role from Flashpoint. But we also get a scene of them using lightning to give the Flash his powers, which I think is they're giving them to the younger Flash. And so I think they're doing a variation on that. But Andrew says, or maybe the Batfleck is Thomas Wayne. No.
I wouldn't think so.
It would be the other way. If it's going to work, it's going to be the other way.
Here's a question. Let's just say, for argument's sake, this is the Michael Keaton Batman we see is Bruce Wayne from the 1989 movie and Batman Returns. We also are told that the Flash breaks the universe and he ends up in a universe where there are no metahumans.
Right.
Are we assuming that is not the same universe that the Michael Keaton Batman is in, that he has to jump universes?
No. But what we're saying is that could be the universe that he's Thomas Wayne in.
Okay. All right.
The only reason I think he might be Thomas Wayne is because there's a moment at the end of Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Where Barry returns to Bruce and gives him a note from his dad. And it's such an emotional moment. And it's such a great moment from the story that if Michael Keaton is just playing an older version of Bruce Wayne, you don't get that. But if he's a Thomas Wayne sending a note to a Bruce Wayne, you could have that moment. And they've never said that Keaton was playing Bruce Wayne.
I get that. I just think that then they're really risking a lot because people are just jumping up and down. This is the whole Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker thing all over again. Nobody really cared much about Michael Keaton years and years ago, but suddenly he's God's gift to Batman, and it's the same thing with Hayden Christensen. Suddenly is like the second coming when he's back as Anakin. Oh my God, I loved his Anakin.
I'm not saying that I'm wrong. I mean, I'm saying I'm throwing this out there as a possibility.
I
as
know.
a writer, that's the approach I would take because to me, that's the better story.
Yeah,
that's the bigger emotional punch.
Yeah,
if you end it with Barry returning with the letter for Bruce,
yeah,
and then discovering that the world he came back to is not exactly the same.
My gut says it's not Thomas Wayne, but I won't argue. I won't argue it. Well, I mean, somebody will. I was going to say we'll see, but I don't know if I'm going to go see that movie or not. I'm in this really weird dilemma where I think I want to invest in what James Gunn is selling, but I don't know if I really want to see these lead up movies. You know, I don't really feel like it. I mean, I can read stuff online about them, I guess, but I don't know. I know I don't want to see Blue Beetle. Who the hell cares about Blue Beetle? And I didn't see the first Aquaman movie, so I don't know if I want to see Aquaman 2.
I love the first Aquaman movie.
The only one that I could see myself going to is this Flash movie, and then I'll hate myself for going to see an Ezra Miller movie. Although I will admit, in the scenes that he's in the trailer, he seems to be doing a good job.
Yeah.
You know, he seems to be heartfelt in his lines, and I don't know. I got some.
Andrew, I like that. Andrew said, if Keaton is playing Thomas Wayne, does that mean we could see Kim Basinger as the Joker? Tell me that wouldn't be awesome. All right, we're going to start running out of time. We got to go to one more thing.
Sorry. We're having such fun, though, Dan.
I'm going to put the spoiler thing up.
Oh,
where is our spoiler? Somewhere I've got a spoiler banner. Maybe I didn't put one on here yet.
I could just keep saying spoiler alert, spoiler alert. You always had one on there.
Yeah, but we're not using the same thing anymore.
All along, I thought we were using the same thing.
All right. Well, we're going to make one real quick.
Well, what you could do is somebody over here watching us could say spoiler alert, and then you can put it up right at the bottom of the screen. There we go. Spoilers. Look at that.
I remember how to do it real quick. All right. So we're going to talk real quick. Dan, your new EXP time slot can go long if you want, about 15. Oh, excellent. Okay. By the way, the pop, when it replays on the experience, is going to be moving. I'm not sure exactly where yet, but it looks like we're not going to have anything after us, so we can go a couple minutes late.
Okay.
So, all right. So Jim went and saw Ant-Man. I haven't seen it yet, but I know what the ending is. And this won't ruin the story. But these are big things. Now, there's two post-credit scenes. I'm talking about what I believe is the second one first.
Yes, there's a mid-credits and then there's end credits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whichever one this is, you have Jonathan Majors with a big mustache doing a show or like a snake oil presentation or something. We're talking like the late 1800s, early 1900s, and you have Mobius played by Owen Wilson, and you have Loki played by Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah,
watching him do this, and Mobius is like, "This is the most powerful, or this is the guy that scares you," and he's like, "Yes,"
And you know what that is? That whole thing is a scene from Loki season 2.
Yes, I think
Yeah,
that's
it's
exactly what it
nothing
is.
but that. But it was so exciting. You should have seen me. I mean, I was fairly quiet, and I had a friend with me. I was fairly quiet through Ant-Man. I said, "Oh," a couple different times. It got to that, I went, "Oh, look, there's Tom Hiddleston," and then Mobius comes on. I'm like, "Oh my God, there's Mobius!" But and then he has the guy. Jonathan Majors has a sign next to him, and it says Victor Timely.
Victor Timely, which is another Kang variant.
Yeah, that's from the comic books.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, it's a nod to Marvel's original title or
It's
name.
exactly that. And then it's so funny. And then we're like getting up to go, and I go, "Oh, you know what? I bet you that's a scene from the an actual scene from the season 2, because it would make sense. Just the same way that the Brie Larson scene at the end of Ms. Marvel, I'm sure, is actually from the Marvels. But regardless, it was very exciting.
Yeah, or I think it was at the end of one of the Spider-Man movies. They had the scene from Civil War, or was it the other way around? One of the movies ended.
It was one of the Civil War. It was a Civil War scene, but I can't remember what it came at the end of. But yes,
yeah. So
yeah,
but yeah, I think that's awesome, and I think that they're definitely leaning in to Jonathan Majors playing every version of Kang we've ever seen.
Yes, it's going to be all Kang all the time.
Right. And that, along with the first post-credit scene,
mid-credit,
which is the Council of Kangs, or the Kang Dynasty, I think is what they refer to themselves as.
Yes.
And you get Immortus, and you get Rama Tut.
Yep.
And you get somebody who's kind of a cyborg.
I think that's supposed to be the Scarlet Centurion.
I've heard a couple people say that, but he's not Scarlet. And I guess in one of the scenes, when they do the big pan, there's a guy in a red cape, which would make more sense to be Scarlet Centurion.
I guess. I thought I read somewhere online that it was Scarlet. I mean, because I did that same thing. I went, "There's Rama Tut," and oh my God, that's Immortus. And then I'm like, "Who's that other guy supposed to be?" And then I kept thinking about it, and I thought, "Is that supposed to be the Scarlet Centurion?" Because I mean, I'm trying to think of other recognizable, more well-known versions of Kang.
Well, I mean, there's a ton of them.
Well, that you can name immediately. The big two would be Immortus and Rama Tut. But once you get past that, you go to the Scarlet Centurion. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know what? It could just be a completely made up one for the movie. I don't know. But
yeah, I think most people are thinking it's Scarlet Centurion.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could also have made one up for the movie.
Yeah.
But the question that comes to my mind at this point is Fantastic Four. I've always thought that they were going to be introduced in Ant-Man.
Oh, by the way, Dan, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I know.
So you owe me $10.
I don't remember betting on it. And we do have the tapes.
Damn.
But
Bill Murray is not playing Reed Richards. I told you.
Who isn't?
Bill Murray is not playing Reed Richards. I
heard Bill Murray was barely in the movie.
Over and over and again. No.
But what do you think the possibility that the Fantastic Four in their first movie are going up against Rama Tut?
Is Fantastic Four before the two Avengers movies?
Yes.
Ooh, stop that. There's a part of me that thinks that's like a part of me in the fan brain that thinks that's kind of cool, but the other reasonable part of me says that's not really a very good villain for the Fantastic Four to have in their first movie.
Okay, tell me who is. Okay, because they always do Doctor Doom. You don't want to do Doctor Doom again. You don't want to waste Galactus on one movie. You want to make him like a threat like Kang or Thanos.
Okay, I think I've said this before, that it should be Namor.
Yeah, it could be Namor.
That's what I really think it needs to be. Yes.
Yeah.
And
but I mean,
but You know what? I won't be pissed if it's Ramatut because, well, okay, it will mean more because it's Jonathan Majors, and we're going to keep getting him anyways. So, yeah, it could mean a lot more. It would just be kind of odd. I don't, you know what? Because I don't want a time travel story. I don't want the first Fantastic Four movie to be a time travel story. No.
But maybe that does the whole thing we've been talking about. The reason people thought about putting them into the quantum realm was to explain, because the Fantastic Four works best when they're created in the 60s, because the space race doesn't make sense. The whole thing about Reed trying to get into space. But if they time travel from the 60s, face Ramatut, and when they come back, they're in modern day, that explains where they've been. It just down the line fixes a lot of issues.
Boy, you just really want to lose another $10 to me.
When I make these speculations, I'm not betting.
It sounds like betting.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah. But so, yeah. You want to bet somebody, bet Kyle, because Kyle's saying they should use Steve Martin as a parody of King Tut.
Well, the Steve Martin from the Godzilla movies? Or the real Steve Martin?
The comedian, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Because what else are you going to use for the Fantastic Four? But because you've got these problems. They're from they're coming in before the incursions and everything else is going to happen. So you got to explain why the first family of Marvel is either brand new.
Yeah.
And then why are they going into space in a badly, because Iron Man went to space.
Start crying because you know what? You're hammering home the fact that this is all really effed up. And I don't mean F as in Fantastic Four. It's really, really effed up. And I'm just hoping that I'm trusting in Kevin that they can iron this out, and I'm going to get the Fantastic Four that I want, and my expectations are not going to be set so high, but it's really effed up. We're going to be like 15 years into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and getting the first family of Marvel, It's messed up. I don't know. I'm really hoping that they're going to work this all out, and it's going to be cool.
But they've done 2 Fantastic Four attempts. Both of them were in modern day, and it didn't work. 3 if you count Richard Corbin.
Well, okay. Also, those were crappy too. All of that was crappy. If it was good, it might have worked in modern times. I don't know, but it wasn't just because of that. It was also because
I got to go on record. I didn't hate the Michael Chiklis, Ian Goffard Fantastic Four. I actually enjoyed the first one.
The first one made me not want to go to the second one. That's what that is. But
the second one made me want to forget the first one.
Yeah.
But the first one I thought was all right.
Yeah. You know what? If they would just get Dr. Doom right in a movie, here's me. I'm doing the same thing that fans do. If they would just get X right, if they would just do it the way I want. But yeah, it's like that would be a huge part of it. Just get Dr. Doom right.
No, the secret is don't do Dr. Doom.
You have to do Dr. Doom sometime.
Well, no, because every time they try to do Dr. Doom, they try to make him part of what makes the Fantastic Four. They didn't do Dr. Doom in the first issue of Fantastic Four.
I know. I know. He's in.
You have to do Dr. Doom. But you do Dr. Doom in the second movie.
Okay, well, you know what? Then I guess it's going to be the Mole Man.
No one's going to go see the Mole Man. Unless you cast Danny DeVito.
If the Mole Man had giant monsters, yes, they would.
Okay.
He has, and I don't like to use the term kaiju, but he has kaiju.
Okay. Issue 1 of the Fantastic Four wasn't the Fantastic Four. Issue 1 of the Fantastic Four was Challengers of the Unknown. And Marvel, and they were still doing monster books.
Okay.
It wasn't until they went, oh shit, that worked, that they started doing the Fantastic Four. You do Mole Man, you're not doing the Fantastic Four. Yes, you're doing the first thing, but the issue 1 wasn't the Fantastic Four.
Okay, well then
They
they're going
weren't
to
even in costume for most of it.
They're going to do the Miracle Man, or they're going to do the Korgu from Planet X, or whatever the hell he was. And
Ramatat.
it's
Ramatat.
It's got to be Namor, because everybody wants to see Namor again. That'll really boost up that movie even more. You get a lot of drama. He's a very powerful villain. You get the whole thing about him and Sue in there, and the dynamics just break through the roof. It's Namor. $10.
What? Who's the big bad of the multiverse saga?
It's not going to be Kang, no.
Right, but and what's one of Kang's variants?
Yeah. Well, okay, then maybe they fight Immortus. I don't know. No, you know what? I heard here's a rumor. I'm going to start a rumor right now. Jonathan Majors is going to play Galactus. And Galactus is going to be a Kang variant.
Who appeared before Kang and Immortus?
Yeah. Okay, whatever. I think he looks goofy in that Egyptian headdress. That's not going to fly. Nobody's going to sit still for that crap.
We just watched a movie with a guy in a green Speedo. So you're thinking the guy in the green Speedo is better than the guy in the Egyptian headdress?
Yeah, because everybody liked Namor, I think.
Andrew says Paste Pot Pete. Are we going to go with Paste Pot Pete? Or
yes, it's going to be Paste Pot.
Frightful Four?
He's a Human Torch villain. He's not. It's going to be the Wizard.
It makes too much sense to be
it's going to be the Frightful Four. That makes perfect sense.
You've got to establish the heroes. And if you use Rama Tut, you don't have to spend that much time establishing the villain, because you've already established him in Loki and in Ant-Man.
Listen, who says it needs a villain at all? It could just be in like natural disaster that they're up against or something like. Or, you know, a space warp or something.
Jim, stop thinking with your heart.
Okay.
Think with your head.
Annihilus.
Who's going to be the bad guy?
It's going to be a Negative Zone story, and it's going to be Annihilus.
After coming off of Quantumania and everybody going, oh my God, and where did the Fan Fort Stick movie take place most of? Oh yeah, in the Negative Zone.
Okay. All right, it's going to be Rama Tut. Okay.
It makes the most sense.
Okay. All right. It makes the most sense. Okay. Or it could be whoever that armored guy was, that armored version. Yeah, it could be that.
Yeah.
Scarlet Centurion.
But it does make a lot of sense. And Rama Tut first appeared in the Fantastic Four. He appeared before the other characters, before other versions, and then they got retconned into one time traveler.
Yeah. They could go up against Blackbeard the Pirate. He was pretty early on. That was a time travel story. They went back in time.
Fantastic Four movie opposite Blackbeard the Pirate. Like to have that meeting with Kevin Feige.
You'll pardon this pun, but that movie is doomed.
You do Rama Tut, you play into the multiverse saga, then you bring in Doctor Doom.
Okay. Well, so basically what they said is, here are the next big 3 villains that are coming up down the line. Immortus, Rama Tut, and whoever this guy over here is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a scene where he steps up and he says, "I am the Scarlet Centurion," and Ben Grimm goes, Johnny, did you hear what this guy's called?
Okay, here's your Fantastic Four movie. They end up in the past. Maybe it's part of the accident of the space program thing they do. Whatever. So they get their powers. They end up in the past. They face Rama Tut. As they're traveling back, Rama Tut escapes through time. but he doesn't go back where he normally goes. He goes and ends up in Latveria, and we meet Doctor Doom at the end, which they did in the comics. Which meeting Doctor Doom is what made Rama Tut take on the Scarlet Centurion mantle.
Yeah, it used to be that they once said that Doom was related to Kang.
Yeah, they believe they were related.
Those guys, but then that was proved wrong. Yeah,
right.
I don't want that.
I'm not saying they're going to do that part.
Okay,
of it.
You've convinced me. That's I just saved $10.
So that's my wild ass speculation. If I was on my other show, we'd have a donkey screaming right now.
Okay.
So
I'm glad we're not on that other show then. Because you just have me screaming in my head right now.
To me it makes too much sense. And I'm not saying they're going to do that, but that's the way I would go. Kyle says, my name is Rama Tut, and this is my brother Kang, and my other brother Kang.
And they told two kings who told two kangs.
Two kangs, and so on and so on.
And,
and that's how you make a dynasty. All right, guys. I think we had a good night. It was a lot of fun. Thank you all for tuning in. Andrew, Scott. I didn't even know Scott had got in here. Hey, Scott. Kyle, Jay. Had a couple other people pop in earlier. But thank you all for tuning in. Mm-hmm. And I will be back on the Dan Wickline show this week. Not quite exactly sure what the rundown's going to be, but we'll have some fun stuff.
Next week on this show, the entire hour is going to be talking about the Indiana Jones trailer.
Okay. Or we'll talk about that for a couple minutes, and then we'll talk about Ant-Man, and we'll talk about whatever the other.
Oh, that's right. We didn't talk about Ant-Man. Yeah, go and see Ant-Man. It's good.
I'm going to try to get over there tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you all. Have